Marhaba, Basmati rice. Now I want to show you how to make this because I think a lot of people when they hear Basmati rice they get a little nervous. I remember the first time I prepared this long grain aromatic rice probably about 30 years ago, and over the years I think that I've tweaked it here and there, and I've learned a way that I want to share with you that I think that you'll find gives you very good results. Now my catering company, I used to have to make a lot of Basmati rice, so we just used these very large rice cookers, and I think one of the keys to making Basmati rice is once you get it going is just not to touch it, and once it's finished cooking is to let it stand, and depending on the volume you make it needs to stand a little longer. Now we're going to start with 1 cup of rice, and then I'm going to show you a pilaf and another cranberry and pistachio rice that we're going to make into, from this rice we're going to make it into those. So what I've done is I always pre-rinse the rice. So this is Basmati rice. It's a long grain rice. It has a very aromatic aroma, sort of like almost like a jasmine rice. This one is from India. Now there are other varieties of Basmati rice. There are varieties from Pakistan and Kenya, and probably in the market you've seen Basmati rice. So there's also that's grown in the United States. Now what we're going to do is we're just going to add all of these to this pot. We're going to put the cup of rice, which I pre-rinsed just through a sieve. I ran under cold water. We're going to add 2 cups of boiling water and a tablespoon of butter and a half a teaspoon of salt, and we're going to bring this to a boil uncovered, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to want the water to boil down till just it's at the surface of the rice. Then we're going to reduce the heat to simmer and cover and let it cook for 10 minutes, and then we're going to let it stand for 20 minutes, and then we're going to use a fork, and you're going to see each piece is going to come apart. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Okay, so now you can see that the water, it's bubbling, it's just right at the surface of the rice, and you can begin to see the rice like on the top, like it's made a little roof. So what we want to do at this point is we're going to go ahead and reduce this to simmer. And we're going to cover that, and we're going to set our timer for 10 minutes. And we'll come back, we'll let it stand for an additional 20 minutes, and then we're going to fluff it with a fork. Okay, so we've let the rice cook for 10 minutes, and then we let it stand for an additional 20 minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a fork, and look, we're just going to fluff it with the fork, and we're just going to empty the rice into this bowl over here. Look how beautiful that is. I think that's, for me, that's one of the best ways to make Basmati rice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you from when you make this rice, I'm going to show you a way to turn it into either a rice pilaf using red bell peppers, little diced red bell peppers and peas, or into another type of rice with using the dried cranberries, the craisins, and oven roasted pistachios. So we're going to do that next. Okay, so now we're going to make the 2 types of Basmati rice from this basic Basmati rice recipe. So you could actually make this basic Basmati rice recipe and put any different, you could put onions with tomatoes and carrots if you wanted. Just make sure everything's pre-sauteed and cooked before you add it to the rice, and then just gently fold it in. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a Basmati rice pilaf. So we're going to start with a half a cup of diced red bell pepper and a half a cup of peas. Now I've thawed the peas, these are frozen peas, and we're just going to heat up a pan, and I'm going to put about a teaspoon of oil, and we're going to go ahead and add the bell pepper and the peas together. And I have this on high heat. We're just going to really let this saute. I'm going to also add, this will start to sizzle up a bit. Okay, we're also going to add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Once these begin to sizzle a bit, we just want it to begin to cook just a bit. We'll probably let this go on for about a minute or 2. And then we're going to go ahead and add the butter. A tablespoon of butter, just regular lightly salted butter. And then we're going to fold it into the rice. Okay, so after a couple of minutes, we're just going to go ahead and add our lightly salted butter. This just adds, you don't have to add the butter if you don't want to. I just think it adds a nice flavor. You certainly don't have to. You could have just added a little more olive oil and you'll be fine. Okay, once that melts, we're done. So what we're going to do is go ahead and add this to the rice. We're just going to fold this. It smells so good. Okay, we're going to fold this right into the rice. We just want to gently fold it into the rice so you don't break the grains of rice. And then I usually let it stand for about 5 minutes before serving it. Now at this point, you can serve this right now if you want. You could also take a clove of garlic and mash it up, and you could have thrown that in if you want to infuse a little bit of garlic flavor to this. You could saute onions, you could do scallions, you can do raisins. So there's really, it's endless what you want to do. But the nice thing is to start with this basic basmati recipe, and then you can flavor it with whatever you think you want to try. So what I like to do at this point, it's ready to go. You can go ahead and serve this now, or you can just cover it and just refrigerate it and use it tomorrow. It's just ready to go when you need it. So that is the basmati rice pilaf. So let's go ahead and do the basmati rice with the craisins and the oven roasted pistachio. Okay, now we're going to start with the basmati rice with the craisins, the dried cranberries, and the oven roasted pistachios. Now these pistachios, all I did was I preheated the oven to 350, put them on a sheet pan, and just put them in for about 10 minutes and remove them, and they'll get a nice sort of crunchiness to them, and that's what you want when you're going to add them to the rice. Also, that flavor is going to be infused to the rice. So we're going to start with putting a little saute pan on the fire, high heat. I'm going to add about a teaspoon of olive oil. You want to let that preheat just a little bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to add the craisins first because they're going to absorb some of this oil, which is what we want. Now I'm using a tablespoon of butter. You don't have to use the butter. You can use olive oil only if you want. I just like the flavor that it gives, but that's your choice. It's it's up to you. So we'll go ahead and put these craisins in. As these sizzle, what's going to happen is the craisins are going to almost seem like they become inflated a little bit. And that's what we want, because when that happens, they just get a little tender. And we want them to be just, have a little more tenderness to them than they are when they're like raisins. Okay, and as they inflate, they also separate from one another. So that's exactly what we want. This was a half a cup of the craisins and a half a cup of the pistachio. We're just going to add this. We don't need to put the pistachio in very long because it was already roasted in the oven. And there's our butter. Okay, put that down. And this is to a cup of our basmati rice, the basic basmati rice recipe. Okay, turn that off. And we're just going to fold this into our rice. Okay, it smells yummy. So at this point, we're just going to fold it right into the rice. Again, just fold it gently so we don't want to break the grains of the rice. There we go. Then once you've got it evenly distributed, again, you can go ahead and serve it at this point. You can cover it, put it in the fridge, use it later on in the day, use it tomorrow. The nice thing about these recipes is you can actually make this rice a couple of days in advance before you need it. And that always helps if you're doing a lot of things and you want to try to get some of the food done in advance. This is certainly one of the things you can make 2 to 3 days in advance. So that's the recipe. I hope you'll enjoy this recipe and all the recipes on my website, cookingwithkamal.com, as well as the recipes in my cookbook, Classic Lebanese Cuisine. My cookbook has full color photos of each recipe with easy to follow, step-by-step directions. You can purchase my book at all major bookstores in the United States, Amazon.com, international online book venues, and signed copies on my online store, shopkamal.com, which come with a complimentary DVD with 41 tutorials such as opening kidbeh, rolling dough, and even the best way to cut an onion. For your convenience, we also carry specialty ingredients and equipment at shopkamal.com. Until next time, happy cooking, sahtain, double hell.